I never thought my own brother would be the one to ruin my life. Growing up, we were inseparable, sharing secrets, dreams, and even a cramped bedroom in our small house. He was older by 4 years, always the protector, the one who told bullies to back off and taught me how to ride a bike. His name was Mark, and Mark was a hero, at least to everyone else. To me, he was the perfect big brother. To the town, he was the decorated police officer with a spotless record. People loved him, respected him, trusted him. And that's exactly why nobody believed me when I said he was a liar. It started 2 months ago. I was working late at the auto shop, finishing up a repair for an elderly customer. Around 10 p.m., I got a call from Mark. "Hey, you busy?" His voice was calm but tight, like he was forcing it. Yeah, but I can wrap up in a bit. What's up?" "I need you to meet me. It's important. Riverside Park. Don't tell anyone." That last part made me uneasy. Mark wasn't the type to sound secretive, but he was my brother. If he needed me, I'd be there. When I got to Riverside Park, the place was empty except for his squad car, parked under a flickering street lamp. Mark was standing a few feet away from it, his hands shoved into his jacket pockets, staring at the ground. "What's going on?" I asked. He looked up at me, his eyes darting left and right. "Listen, something happened. You're going to hear about it, but I want you to know I didn't have a choice." "What do you mean?" Before he could answer, the sound of sirens echoed in the distance. 2 more squad cars pulled up, their lights flashing red and blue. 4 officers got out, and my stomach dropped when I saw they were all looking at me. "Ryan Carter," one of them said, "you're under arrest for the murder of John Mason." I froze. "What?" Mark stepped back. He didn't say a word. I was handcuffed, shoved into the back of a cruiser, and driven to the station. I kept asking about John Mason. I knew him. He was a mechanic who worked across town. We weren't close, but we'd talked a few times. Why would I kill him? At the station, I was told they had witnesses who saw me leaving Mason's shop the night he died. And worse, they found my fingerprints on the murder weapon, a wrench. I looked at Mark through the glass window of the interrogation room. He wouldn't meet my eyes. It took 2 days before my lawyer managed to get me out on bail. By then, the whole town had heard. My boss fired me. My friends ghosted me. My own mother refused to answer my calls. And Mark? He visited me once. "I'm sorry," he said, sitting at my kitchen table, "but I couldn't stop it. The evidence was there." I slammed my hands on the table. "Mark, you put the evidence there, didn't you?" He flinched. Just slightly, but enough for me to know. "I can't talk about this," he muttered. "You're better off letting it go." Letting it go? He wanted me to just accept spending the rest of my life in prison for something I didn't do? No. The next few weeks, I became obsessed with proving my innocence. I started digging into John Mason's life. I learned that 2 months before his death, he had a run-in with the police over an illegal shipment of car parts. But the case disappeared, no charges, no court date. And then I found something else. Mark had been the arresting officer. That was the connection. I broke into Mark's garage one night while he was on duty. Hidden in an old toolbox, I found a manila folder with photos, crime scene shots of John Mason's shop. But there was something off about them. In one photo, the wrench was clean. In another, taken at a slightly different angle, it had blood on it. Someone had staged it. I took the folder and hid it under the floorboards in my apartment. I knew I couldn't go to the police. They'd just hand it back to Mark. The turning point came when I followed Mark one night. He drove out to an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. I stayed far enough behind not to be noticed, then crept closer on foot. Through a broken window, I saw him talking to 2 men I didn't recognize. They were handing him an envelope, thick, stuffed with cash. "Keep your mouth shut," one of them said, "and make sure no one digs into Mason's shipment." Shipment. That was it. Mason had been killed because he knew too much about whatever illegal operation these guys were running. And Mark, my brother, had taken money to cover it up. I pulled out my phone to record, but the floorboard I was standing on cracked. Mark's head snapped up. "Who's there?" I bolted. I could hear his footsteps pounding behind me, but I managed to make it to my car. An hour later, as I sat in my apartment trying to catch my breath, I heard a knock on my door. It was Mark. He didn't bother asking if he could come in. He just shoved past me, his eyes wild. "What were you doing out there?" "I could ask you the same thing," I said, my voice shaking. His jaw clenched. "You're making a mistake, Ryan. You think you can play detective, but you have no idea who you're dealing with." "Then tell me," I shouted. "Tell me why you're framing me for murder instead of going after the real killers." For a second I thought he was going to hit me, but then he just shook his head. "This is bigger than you. If you keep digging, they'll come after Mom. Do you understand?" My blood ran cold. He wasn't protecting himself, he was protecting her. "Mark, what did you get into?" I whispered. He didn't answer. He just walked out, leaving me standing there in silence. But I wasn't going to stop. If they came after Mom, it would be because of what he had done, and I wasn't about to let him destroy both of us. The next night, I went back to the warehouse. This time, I brought a hidden camera and stayed low. I caught footage of the two men unloading crates from a truck. The boxes were marked with a shipping company's logo, but when they pried one open, it was filled with illegal firearms. This was it, the proof I needed. But before I could leave, I felt a hand clamp down on my shoulder. I turned. It was Mark. Mark's grip on my shoulder was like iron. He spun me around, and for a split second I saw something in his eyes, not anger, not fear, but desperation. "What the hell are you doing here, Ryan?" he hissed, his voice low but sharp. I tried to keep my cool. "Getting proof. Proof that you're involved in something dirty, and that I didn't kill Mason." His gaze flicked toward the open crate of firearms. His jaw tightened. "You don't know what you've stepped into, these guys. They're not just some small-time crooks. They have reach, Ryan, real reach. The kind that doesn't care if you're a cop or family." "Then why work for them?" I shot back. "Why sell me out?" Mark's eyes darkened. "You think I wanted to? You think I had a choice?" Before I could answer, one of the men shouted from across the warehouse. "Hey, who's that?" Mark's grip on me tightened. "Go, now. What about you? Just trust me for once and go." It was ironic, him asking for trust after framing me. But the urgency in his voice made me move. I slipped out a side door and ran through the shadows until I reached my car. My hands were shaking so badly that I dropped the keys twice before getting inside. Back in my apartment, I reviewed the footage. It was shaky, grainy, but clear enough two men unloading illegal guns, and Mark standing nearby. This was the kind of evidence that could burn his career to the ground. But here was the problem. Going public with it meant burning myself too. If the gang found out I had this video, I was dead. And if the cops saw it, they might still spin it to make me look like an accomplice. I needed someone I could trust completely. Unfortunately, that list had gotten very short. There was one person, though Detective Claire Hayes. She'd been a friend of my father's before he passed. More importantly, she hated dirty cops. I called her burner phone at 2 a.m. "Ryan, it's late. You in trouble?" "Worse," I said. "My brother's working with an arms smuggling ring, and that he framed me for Mason's murder." There was a pause. Meet me tomorrow. Noon. And Ryan, don't talk to anyone else about this. When I arrived at the diner the next day, Claire was already there, sipping black coffee and wearing her usual trench coat like she'd stepped out of an old detective movie. I slid into the booth and handed her a USB drive. This has the video from last night, I said. And I have more at my apartment photos, files I found in Mark's garage. She plugged the drive into her tablet, watching the footage in silence. Then she looked up. This is big. If this checks out, it's not just Mark. This could blow open a major case. Good. Because I'm tired of everyone thinking I'm a murderer. Claire's expression softened. Ryan, you realize if we move on this, Mark's not walking away. He'll go down hard. Hesitated. I know. That night I got home to find my apartment door slightly ajar. My gut twisted. I stepped inside cautiously and froze. The floorboards, where I'd hidden the manila folder, were ripped up. The folder, the photos, gone. I didn't need to guess who had been here. A voice came from the shadows. You should have listened to me. Mark stepped forward, holding the folder in his hands. You think Claire can save you? He asked, tossing the folder onto the couch. She can't. You're in over your head, Ryan. These guys, they already know you were there last night. I swallowed hard. Then maybe I should just give them the video myself and let them take you instead. He actually smiled, a bitter, tired smile. You don't get it. If they think you're a problem, you'll disappear, and I won't be able to stop it. Stop pretending you care, I snapped. You had no problem throwing me under the bus before. Something flickered in his eyes. That wasn't about you. Mason? He was about to go public. They told me it was him or Mom. They gave me a wrench with your prints already on it. I thought I could protect you if I played along. But it got too big. I stared at him, disbelief turning into cold rage. So your solution was to make me a murderer in everyone's eyes? Brilliant. Before he could answer, a knock came at the door, 3 sharp raps, followed by silence. Mark's face drained of color. That's them? He grabbed my arm. We're leaving. Now. I yanked free. I'm not going anywhere with you. The knock came again, louder this time. Mark's eyes darted to the back window. Fine. Suit yourself. He climbed out, disappearing into the night. A second later, my front door exploded inward. 2 men in ski masks stormed in, guns drawn. Where's the footage? One of them barked. I didn't answer. One of them lunged toward me, and that's when the window shattered behind him. Claire stepped in, gun raised. Police! Drop it! The masked men turned, and for a moment no one moved. Then one of them bolted. Claire fired a warning shot, and they both ran. She turned to me. You okay? I nodded, though my legs felt like jelly. We don't have much time, she said. That video you gave me, I've already made copies. We're taking this straight to internal affairs in the morning. Good, I said, but my mind was elsewhere on Mark. Later that night, I got a text from an unknown number. Meet me at the old pier. Midnight, come alone. I knew it was him. The pier was deserted, waves lapping softly against the wood. Mark stood at the end, looking out at the dark water. You shouldn't have involved Claire, he said without turning around. You shouldn't have framed me for murder, I shot back. He finally faced me. I'm leaving town. It's the only way to keep you and Mom safe. Running won't fix this, Mark. They'll find you. Maybe, but they won't find you. For a moment I saw my brother again, the protector, the one who used to stand up for me on the playground. But that man was buried under too many lies. I can't just let you go, I said quietly. You need to face what you've done. He shook his head. Goodbye, Ryan. and then he was gone, swallowed by the darkness. The next day, Claire and I handed everything over to Internal Affairs. The investigation is ongoing, but the smuggling ring has already taken heavy hits. As for Mark, I don't know if I'll ever see him again. Part of me hopes I don't. Because if I do, I don't know whether I'll hug him or turn him in.